Today, we are blindly ranking NBA teams without knowing who's next. Should be fun. Anytime we do one of these videos, I'm just assuming that we're gonna offend some people. And if you're one of the people that are offended, I don't really care. But you can let me know in the comment section, I guess. I'm kidding. I want everybody to enjoy their time here. So just recognize the rules of the game. I mean, the only real rule is that I don't know what team is coming next. Like, that's kind of it. It's 5 teams per selection. And right now, we're going to go different. We're going to go different categories. The first category is just based on today, okay? We're blindly ranking 5 NBA teams based on today. All right, let's see. We're going to start off with the Denver Nuggets. Well, based on today, and again, based on today, that can mean like, oh my God, we just look at the records. Can you know? I'm based on today. I still feel pretty good about the Denver Nuggets being a real contender. So I'm probably gonna get the Denver Nuggets #1 right now. It's not the safest thing to do, but I feel like it's gonna be hard to get a team that I enjoy more than the Denver Nuggets as far as like production, right? I think that's a good start. I mean, they did just come off a championship. They might have the MVP of the league on their team. The New York Knicks. I'm gonna put the Knicks in 3. I really think that they're a really good team, especially after all of the trades. They got to get healthy right now, but I do believe there's a tier above them, and there's multiple tiers beneath them because they're really good. So I feel good about the Knicks at 3. They are well above average NBA team. Next, we get the Chicago Bulls. You see what I mean? The Bulls are a 5. They're 5 because I think there's teams like there's like a board like a 5 through 8 seed that are better than the Bulls, and the Bulls fit in that category of not the bottom feeders, but goddamn, they're very close to it. Okay, so we're gonna get the Kings next. The Kings are gonna have to slide into my 4 because I don't think they're better than the Knicks. So I have to keep my 2 open and hope that I get another contending team. Could this be the perfect list? We're gonna get, oh man, Brooklyn Nets ruins everything. Now, if I would have put the Kings at 2, and then that would have left the Nets to be number 4, and that would have been a lot better, but that's not the way it worked. Okay, bad first run. Now, we're blindly ranking NBA teams based on their young pieces, the young core associated with the team. Every team has some form of young core. It might be one really bad. Oh my God, are we gonna get the Rockets? Now the Rockets have Jalen Green, they have Alperen Sengun, they have Jabari Smith Jr., they have Cam Whitmore, they have Amen Thompson. Is this gonna be another run where I put them at a team at 1? I might put them at 2 because we do have teams like OKC on this list. And I think OKC's pretty good at #1. So I'm going to say Rockets at 2. And I feel pretty good about that. You know, Rockets at #2. Young core is really good. Next, we have the Pacers. Young core, I'm consisting of Tyrese Halliburton, Benedict Mathurin. Then we have like Jarris Walker, who doesn't really play too much. I think Jalen Smith is still relatively young. It's really carried by Tyrese being an All-NBA player already. But because I can't put them at 1, I'm gonna put them at 3. And again, a lot of that is Tyrese, and then a little bit of Benedict Mathurin. But they have to go to 3 because they have a young core that already consists of a All NBA caliber player. Miami Heat might have to go to my 5. Because I think Bam Adebayo is aged out of the young core. He's 26 at this point. Like, he's still young for sure, but he's not. When you think about young players, you traditionally think of it like 24 and younger. So it's really like Tyler Hero's old in here, but he still counts. And then it's like Jaime Jaquez. That's like it. So I'm gonna put the Miami Heat at 5. I know Nikola Jovic just had a really big game, so maybe he's a part of the young core right now. So we have to wait and see. Next, oh dang. The run is over. The Clippers, young core is Bones Highland and Josh Primo, if he's still on the team. I don't even know. So this is where I should have had the Heat at 4 and let the Clippers be 5. But because they are the only spot left is 4 and 1, they have to slide to 4. So this is another run that is scratched because we did a poor job. We end up getting the Pistons to fall into our 1 spot. It's not a very good run. It was Pistons 1. Rockets, Pacers, Clippers, Heat. That's bad. That's really bad. Now, we're ranking teams strictly on their bench. The top 5 players of your team do not matter. Give me your bench and only your bench. We get the Rockets again. Now, their bench, I'm assuming health in a lot of these cases. So, their bench is going to be like Ahmed Thompson. It's going to be Cam Whitmore. It's going to be Aaron Holiday, Jeff Green a little bit. That's like a 4 probably. A lot of youth in there. I feel like some other backup units are just better. I'm going to put them at 4 this time. That's safe. I feel like 3 is probably the safest way to start every single one, but we're going to put them at 4 and hope that that doesn't bite us. Then we get the Warriors. So now their backup unit, again, with health, is like, it's Chris Paul coming off the bench. Jonathan Kuminga's now started, so it's like Kevon Looney coming off the bench. It's not a very pretty thing. I think it's better. It would end up being better than the Rockets bench, I think, with good health, because Brandon Podziemski is in there, and he's a really good NBA player. Gary Payton is in there as well. So I'm going to put the Warriors at 3. It's not beautiful. I think it could get the job done when Chris Paul is back, because Chris Paul is one of the best bench players in the league. Don't at me. Then we got the 76ers, whose bench is not going to be great. It's going to be like Kyle Lowry. I don't know when DeAnthony Melton comes back, if he's starting or is he coming off the bench. If he's starting, that means that like either Kelly Oubre or Buddy Hield is coming off the bench. So let's just say DeAnthony Melton is coming off the bench just because he hasn't been there for a long time. B-Ball Paul. Now I'm doing this. A lot of teams don't got no crazy bench, man. Unless you got one really great bench player, your bench is not going to be real good. You also have like Nicholas Batum. That bench is not bad, all things considered. If it's Kyle Lowry, let's say one of Melton, Oubre, or Hield. One of those 3 players have to come off the bench. We have Nicholas Batum, and then we also have B-Ball Paul. That's not a bad bench at all, man. I'm actually going to put them at 2. I'm realizing the bench is probably not the best way to go, but we're gonna stick with it because we only got 2 more teams left. We're going to go to the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers have a really good bench. We saw that especially during the last 2 months when they had the 2 injuries in Darius Garland and Evan Mobley. Then they just inserted X player here, X player there, and they were still really, really good. Is this my 1? Oh, I don't like this at all, but that has to be my 1. And then whoever's benches, man, benches. Nobody cares. And then the Nuggets bench is not very good. So actually that ended up being not so bad. Cavs, 76ers, Warriors, Rockets, Nuggets. That's not too bad when you think about doing it blindly. Next, we're going strictly off watchability. This is my own personal thing, obviously. Everybody enjoys different things when it comes to basketball and the viewing experience, so it's all my personal thing. The Milwaukee Bucks are going to number 2. They've been a very interesting team to watch, especially now that Doc Rivers is there. You're trying to figure out what changes is Doc Rivers making for the better. I still believe Giannis is one of the most fun watches in the NBA to me. And Dame has been so hit or miss this season. When he's hitting, it's Damian Lillard. So I'm putting him in my 2. As far as watchability goes, Bucks at 2. I went to see them live last week, and it was very fun. Wow. Clippers watchability. God, there's so many great watchable teams. Clippers might be my 1. Clippers are 1. I'm sorry, everybody else who thought they could take that 1 spot. The Clippers are sitting at my 1 at watchability because I'm assuming we're going to get a team like the Utah Jazz. That's what I was assuming. Now, the Jazz were very watchable earlier in the season. Larry Markkinen is one of my favorite players in basketball. But again, just like last deadline, they made some trades, and I just don't think they're going to be very good for the rest of the season. Are they my 4 or are they my 5? I am watching more Jazz games than I'm watching Grizzlies games, Wizards games, Blazers games. So I'm going to put them in my 4 because I do believe there are some teams that I can hit that's in that 5 tier. So Jazz, you're going to my 4. I need a 3 and I need a 2. I need a 3 and I need a 2. And guess what? Toronto Raptors, since they made that trade, the Raptors are in my 5. The Raptors are in my 5. Since they made the trades, Pascal Anunoby out the door, they have the second to worst net rating in all of basketball. It has been very, very ugly. I am not tuned in to Raptors unless it is a close game with 5 minutes left. I'm sorry, Toronto. The rebuild is really here. Y'all are way worse than even I anticipated. And then our 3 spot is going to end up being the Pistons. No! I was hoping that was the Pelicans because the Pelicans fit there perfectly. But instead it's the Pistons. Rough. This one is going to be strictly on starting 5 now, okay? Keep spinning. All right, it won't keep spinning. Back to the Utah Jazz. I was hoping not to land on the same teams, but the Jazz starting lineup, I know that I guess there are stats that you can look into and say, oh my God, the net rating of this starting lineup is this. That's not, we're going off vibes, kind of. Oh, scrap it. Scrap star lineup. The vibes. We're blindly ranking 5 NBA teams based on the vibes of that team right now. That's the last one. Forget real stats and stuff. The vibes of the Denver Nuggets coming off a championship. I would say it's probably a 2. Yeah, it's probably a 2. They got a championship last year. This year hasn't been as successful. They're kind of coasting a lot of the year. I'm putting it at 2, and I'm putting it at 2 with some good confidence. The next team, it's rigged to get the Nuggets. Is that the 4th time we've got the Nuggets today? I think it is. Yep. So it's rigged towards the Nuggets. Great. The vibes in Atlanta are not amazing. I'm putting it at 4 because I do believe there are teams that are worse. I'm putting it at 4 because I do believe there are teams that are worse, but it's not a lot of teams worse than Atlanta Hawks vibes right now. Next team we're getting is the Spurs, or is it the Rockets? The vibes of the Rockets are pretty positive. Now, I know they're on the outside looking in, but considering that they were one of the 3 worst teams in basketball last year, this year has been an absolute success. I'm putting them at 3. I think their vibes are higher than the Atlanta Hawks because they're trending upward while the Hawks are more plateauy. The Hornets, in this moment in time, the Hornets vibes are great. They're in a 2-game win streak. But overall, I'm going to put them at 5. I'm going to put them at 5, okay? I'm putting them at 5. And then the last team, I need somebody with the most immaculate vibes of all time. Holy crap, this is the worst vibes of all time. It's the Bulls. All right, well, blindly ranking NBA teams without knowing who's next is almost impossible. We did bad the entire time around. That's the way it goes.